everyone, and welcome once again to the Rancher in Stilettos presents Cocktails and Conversations. I'm absolutely super excited today to introduce my guest, Tangela Parker. Hey, Tan.
Hi, Rancher. Thank you for
Yeah, right,
having me.
right. I am truly a
Yeah,
rancher.
you
And
are truly a rancher.
just a little background, Tangela is a healthcare marketing executive and an avid reader. And of course, she is a full-fledged rancher, which means she has read all three books in the Rancher in Stilettos series. Tan, thanks for joining me today. I'm so glad to see your face, kiddo.
It is good to be here. Thanks for having me. I always love your artwork, by the way. See it on the wall. I see the different artifacts and pieces. It's always very unique and
Oh,
fulfilling to see. So I
thank
remember those
you,
pieces.
thank you.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
we got to keep the my Afrocentric spirit going.
It
I
all flows together so well, though.
thank you, thank you. Anyway, I wanted to just chat with you about your thoughts on the books, your favorite characters, and when we talked about the fact that you read the third book, obviously I wanted you to come on the show. But I want to
Mhm.
just talk to you a little bit about the series in general, how you feel about it, and what resonates with you.
What resonates with me is that in each book, you see yourself and your friends. If
Mm,
you have a circle or a group of friends, each person you're like, okay, well, I'm like, that's Karen, that's Candy, and you get to see yourself. It's as if you're writing this book from a perspective of these are my friends. Of course, situations are a little different, but you get to see yourself in the book. And when you become so enamored with a series like this, you anticipate what's going to come next. You ingrain yourself in these people's lives. Like, okay,
right?
well, they were dating and now they're not. Like, what's gonna happen next? It's actually like reading a soap opera.
Yeah,
But
I
they
agree.
become like it becomes family, and that is why when you look at adaptations that come to the television screen, you're like, okay, well, it was like this in the book. It's not like that on the TV screen. So I always tell people to read the book
Right.
because it is so detailed, and just kind of knowing you and your writing style and the dreamers, and knowing that these are real people, these
Well,
are beautiful people, and that their friendship that exists with you all is so admirable, because where do you find lifelong friends that are still able to be lifelong friends? So that's just phenomenal.
Well, and I mean, I think it's also interesting that you are one of the few people who's gotten to meet the dreamers. You've been to
Mhm.
Huntsville, you've, been to the home place and visited my friends and family. So you kind of have a vantage point of living around me and being around me. So you really understand where these characters come from. So to after all those years of hearing me talk about those people, what was it like to actually start reading a story that's based on them?
When you said Huntsville, you was like, I'm from Huntsville. I thought you meant Alabama.
I know.
I did
Everybody
not
does.
I did not know Huntsville, Texas existed. And to go there and to see all of the air property, which is similar to the way that I grew up,
Mhm.
was my first time seeing that. So it was actually a ranch, and seeing you or Jade and seeing them one by one, Pam and Charlotte, and seeing them come and now identifying who's who in the book, it is exciting
Right.
because these are real people. Of course, fiction is integrated in the copy of the book, but just seeing how parallel this is to the lives of those individual, it was exciting because you're like, I actually am reading a book. And I have friends that are authors, but they typically write, nonfiction, right? So to be reading a book and you're like, oh, I know who that is. Look at Jade. Look at Jade. What is she doing now? But to understand that, and I was like, now where is Roxy? Okay, Where is Roxy? Where is, because I remember seeing Roxy when I visited there, and I said, no, we're gonna have to
You
find
mean
a
the
spot.
dog,
Yeah,
Roxy?
we need to find a spot for Roxy in the book, because Roxy had her own personality
Yes,
and
yes,
was
absolutely.
nonchalant and did not care. So just knowing that these are real people and the impact that you all have had on each other's lives, and seeing how those women stood in for you, and one of the most traumatic seasons of your life was beyond amazing.
Mhm.
And that's not a dress rehearsal. That's not something that you see often. These women were there in the beginning, during, and after, because
Right,
as we all know, when after the funeral, the calls stop and the visits do too, but
right.
not with the dreamers. The dreamers continue to really care for you and to make sure that you are in a good place. And
Yeah,
I will always
exactly.
respect them for that. You have an amazing group of friends.
Thank you. And I include you in that group, my love.
Toot toot.
Hey, we haven't had a toast yet. So here's a cheers to us and a lifelong time of friendship.
Toot toot.
Mm.
I gotta unblur because it's blurring my cocktail.
I see it. It looks good.
It is, it is, it is.
It's
It's
the
very
Rancho and
beautiful.
Stilettos cocktail light.
It's the light version. Because it's a multifaceted drink, you can adjust as needed.
Oh, okay. Love it. Love it. Good point.
You can adjust it as needed. You can adjust the type of liquor. You can adjust, make it non-alcoholic. I'm drinking a non-alcoholic version, which is just as refreshing. What I did is I took a cue from your recommendation, and I took the sweet and sour, the mix, and I froze the ice cubes.
All
So I
right.
used those cubes, and then I poured the mango juice over it. So it's definitely that same flavor, and it gives it a little fizz because I added sparkling water to it. So it's a fun little drink.
Okay. I gotta make one little correction. When you're talking about the main character, you're calling her Jade, and you know it's Zaid. I know you know that.
No, I have my trays in. I
So
know
you
her
can
name.
say
I'm so sorry. Yeah, I have
your
my
Invisalign.
Invisalign trays in. I got new trays, so I'm so
Oh, that's
sorry if it sounds like that.
hilarious.
I'm
I
saying it
so
with a Z. I'm so sorry.
disease are hard to get out. No worries. And thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah, I definitely know her name. So what happened is that this is my last tray. And I just put this tray in today. And yeah, if anybody that
They're a
has,
little snug right now.
yeah, they are a little snug. I'm
Yeah.
fighting for my life right now, so it does sound like I have a speech impediment. So no, I am definitely saying Z, and it sounds like J.
Oh my
So
God.
I apologize, but yeah.
No worries, no worries. So talk to me about Zayd in general. How do you feel about her as the lead character, a woman in general, and more specifically, a Black woman and the role that she has in the storyline?
Zayd is a multifaceted character. Zayd is that person that is going to get it done, but internalizes.
Hmm.
And when you're looking at women like Zayd, too, Zayd likes to win.
Yeah.
And winning looks different for everybody, but Zayd's gonna win by any means necessary. And sometimes it's to her own detriment.
Yeah.
Because as women, similar to Zayd, we sometimes cut off our nose to spite our face. And winning means sometimes having that last word when you being silent would have been more impactful. So
Right.
a lot of teachable moments with Zayd in her behavior, because me personally, I see myself in the behavior that she does.
Mm-hmm.
And when you are a multifaceted individual and you play so many roles to so many people, you become so fearlessly independent
Mm-hmm.
to where winning is at the top of your list, but also you don't know when to kind of take a step back and ask for help or to let it go because you're going to win.
Right.
And it becomes almost, it's a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because it helps you progress and it helps your trajectory, but
Mm-hmm.
it is a curse because you have to learn how to manage that in relationships. So the vulnerability is not always there because sometimes we look at that as being weak, and
Okay.
Zayd is not going to let that happen.
But you bring up a good point because I think that initially that's all you get to see of her, particularly in that first book, because she's just like, on a mission. She wants to get this company up and running. Big Dream Threads has been like a goal for her for years. Um, then love happens. And now she's kind of even trying to decide what love looks like, because there's two guys that are basically in her life.
Mm-hmm.
um, I do start to see as she recognizes, which relationship she wants to pursue. I start to see some vulnerability in her, but it's awkward. It is awkward for her. She's clearly uncomfortable in that space.
When you're in that space, though, think about it. Two guys, you're
Mm-hmm.
you're either leading with this or this,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
the head
Mm-hmm.
or the heart.
Right.
Your head, and it's almost like, okay, right from wrong, but when your heart is involved, logic is out of the window.
It's true.
That's very scary for a officially independent person like Zay.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
very scary when you are in the moment and you're being led by emotion and not logic.
Mm-hmm.
And you are the person that
Which
you
we've
probably
never had happen to us, of course.
no, but you're the person that you counsel and you say, no, this is what you need to do.
Yep.
A, B, and C. But when it's you and you're having an out of body experience, because at this point, all, all of your behavior and your emotions defy logic,
Yeah.
because what's understood just can't be explained.
Yeah, and I think she is, fighting, struggling between with herself, which is
Mhm,
one of the reasons that I think she allows herself to be unfaithful to Corey, the main boyfriend,
mhm.
because for her to truly be faithful, which is why she wants to tell him what has happened and realizes she has to be honest about it because she realizes that that relationship is growing and it's something that has become valuable to her. And while the other dreamers are saying, just don't, let sleeping dogs lie.
Mhm.
She knows that if it is a real relationship that she's seeking with him, she has to be honest. How he finds out about it, about the cheating, is
Yeah,
not exactly, the perfect scenario. And as
but
you know, they kind of break up over that. And I've been there, we've all been there. And then both of them are struggling to figure out how they're going to get back together. So what I'd like to ask you from a just a standpoint of the the book and book 1 through 2, let's say book 1 through 2, where the first book is basically setting up all of the characters and who they are.
correct.
By
Mhm,
book 2, you start to really see personality traits. What do you
mhm.
think about Corey as a guy to date or someone to even fall in love with his personality? And as you read about who he was, what did you think about him?
Corey, I would say, because there's Tangi that grew up in Mississippi. There's Atlanta Tangela.
Yeah.
Corey would be for Tangela. Corey would be that guy. Corey would be the guy that I take to the junior league events and that guy that I'm out there with. And when you look at what happened between them, she wanted to tell him because she had to have that control. It's
Right.
about control. But Corey is that guy with that type of personality. That to me, that type A personality. Corey would be the one that, like I said, he's gonna smell good, he's gonna look good, and he's gonna fit with Tangela. He doesn't know Tangi that used to jump the barbed wire fences and ride four wheelers. He knows this,
Right.
and
Right.
that's who Corey is to me.
Did you want Corey for Zayd?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think he fit, like I said, he fit Zayd, that the perception, the representative of Zayd, but
Right.
to your core,
Right.
does that make sense?
Yeah,
To
it was
your
always a
core.
battle between them.
Yeah.
Always that, you just couldn't quite put your finger on it. It
Mhm.
was
It's
always,
tennis. Tennis.
yeah, and she was fighting for her own territory, respect, whatever you want to call it. And he already felt confident that he could just kind of run both their lives. And she wasn't ready to surrender her life to him. Not on that level, not completely like that.
Well, you come across those men because they're those type of, they take control. They're in control at work. They think they're going to be in control at home. But then you have a Zaid who, I have an echo in my house because I run this house. So you're not going to just be able to put me on autopilot and I
Right.
fall in line like that. And you wound up in a situation where you're playing tennis all the time.
Yeah.
You do this, I do that. You do this, I do that. So it's not a cohesive relationship all the time because you're doing this at least 60% of it.
I think that Zayd's personality is what Corey is attracted to, obviously, in the fact that she's a
Mhm.
beautiful woman,
She's pretty, yeah.
who wouldn't? But at the same time, I feel like he was on some level trying needing to change her. I don't
Mhm.
think he was even that aware of it or doing it intentionally. I just feel like, from his own history, things, just like you say, worked out for him. There was not that struggle. Women just were glad to be with him, but to have
Mhm.
someone come around that, it's always some kind of tension, and they were standing their ground, and I think that he was attracted to that.
He was attracted to it, but he also wanted to tame her.
Yeah.
So when we're looking at changing, sometimes men they start to chip away at you and chip away at your independence and an effort to change or to tame you and to reel you in.
Right.
And although he was attracted to her personality or her independence, he wasn't accustomed to that level of independence. I will equate Corey with being in Atlanta, where the ratio to men and women is 8 women to every one man. So you think about they don't
Right.
have to put up with that.
Right.
And so it
Exactly.
spoils them. It spoils them to the point to where they come across a Zadar Tangela, they like, what in the world? I'm attracted to it, but I don't want to put up with it all the time.
Yep.
So
It's work.
it's
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 work.
hard to turn it off.
Yeah.
It's work. Yeah.
Of the other female characters, who's your favorite?
I don't know. Because each one of them are special. So
I kind of see Charmaine being a lot like you. And I'm going to tell you, as
you
long
think
as
so?
I'm sorry?
I say you think Charmaine like me?
Yeah, I do, because y'all are both straight shooters. I mean, you're kind and sweet, but if everybody can see the writing on a wall, Charmaine is the one who's going to speak to that writing, to whatever the message is. Um,
Mhm.
I think that the other girls are a lot more docile, if you will, than the Charmaine character. Of course, the person that Charmaine is based on in real life feels that I, kind of overstep with her, and that she's not quite as, forceful, and certainly not as her libido is not quite as great as the Charmaine in the book.
Charmaine, I need Charmaine libido. We need to bottle up Charmaine's libido.
Exactly, exactly. So
So
the third book is out now, so you know how the book ends. What would be your desire to see in terms of this book moving forward, or the story of the female relationship and the male relationships moving forward?
I would like for this series to be, we had the 3 books, but I would like for it to be a series of short stories.
Oh,
And with those short stories, you have those, each of the dreamers would have a story.
okay.
Similar to an author, her name is Zane. She would write these short stories. She would write the book, and then she would write the short stories. Um, Side note, I had no business reading Zane books in high school, but I was reading them. But I would like to see short stories on the dreamers.
Okay. Okay. So each dreamer would basically have a short story that only focuses on them.
One
Okay.
book,
Uh-huh.
yeah, but with short stories in it. So
Oh,
Charmaine may have the story is 30 pages or 40 pages, you know, like that. So you would do that. What is Corey up to? So it would be short stories of each person, and it
okay.
would be their individualized stories.
Okay. Okay.
And so where we have the series where it's intertwined, but this will be what I go through my day to day. And you may introduce them to characters that are peripheral in the book right now, but are central to those individuals.
Right.
And that to me could be a pivot for another type of series. But I would love to see just a one book of short stories for those characters.
Okay, that's new. That's new. I've actually had people suggest that, I do maybe mini books or whatever, like little short books of each character and kind of flesh out that character. But this may
Mhm.
be a different way to go about it. And I think probably an easier, more concise way to do it. So that's a great idea. That's
I would love one book with all of those characters because I would probably use it as a point of reference. Because when you're an avid reader, you become intertwined with those characters. And when you have those characters that have so many dimensions, you want to know why people act the way that they act.
right.
And it's hard for you to do that when you're writing a series because that series was based specifically on Zayd. But if you're able to kind of break that down and that people can see the dynamic and some more of the historical information on those characters, it'll make a lot more sense in the intertwine their behavior.
I love it. Tangela, thank you so, so much for joining me today. I'm absolutely thrilled. It's great to see you. I haven't seen you in a
It's,
few months. I got to come back out to
you
Atlanta
need to come see. You need to come back to Atlanta. Atlanta loves you.
and
Atlanta loves
visit you.
you. They love
Visit.
your book.
I got to visit with you and Angel. Angel, my
Angel,
baby,
I was hoping
baby
Angel
dog.
I was hoping she would join us. But unfortunately she is over there asleep. She has not moved since we were here. Don't
Well,
embarrass me. Well, she's embarrassed me. I never mind. She just growled at me, so she won't be joining us. But
okay. All right.
I've enjoyed this in cheers, and I'm going to be looking forward
Cheers
to
out.
that book of short stories with the characters.
Thank you for giving me more work. I appreciate that. Nothing but love for you, darling. Nothing but love. And thank you again. I appreciate you.
Love you. You have a good one. Okay.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye bye.